Hey, booze, hey. Do your blankets feel like super glue in the morning? Well, sis, it's time to shake them off. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Hey, booze. Hey, it's your girl, Leanne Dosa, your Chief Self-Love Officer over here at the Wake Up Happy Sis Show, the place where professional Black women come to get inspired, uplifted, and empowered. So, my co-host, Sharonda Sealy, should be here shortly. Y'all know she's coming in generally from her workout session, so she should be here shortly. But never fear. Today, we are diving into a topic that hopefully is going to set your soul on fire. And yes, you know, we keep it a little spicy over here. The topic is fuck being broke. It's time to build a legacy. Look, we're done with living in survival mode. It's time for us to reclaim our power, to rewrite our money stories, and to start building generational wealth that really is going to last. And we've got two amazing guests that are joining us today. Tawana Yvette, founder of Black Butterfly Goddess, who has turned her trauma into triumph, and the Reverend Dr. Xenia Barnes, a social scientist and trauma expert who's all about helping us heal and build resilience. So I want you to grab your notebooks, grab your favorite cup of something. You know, we don't judge what's in your mug, okay? Because this is a conversation you really don't want to miss. As always, we're going live on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our people because we're always telling our stories our way. So let's wake up happy and start building something that matters. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to the Wake Up Happy Sis Show. How are y'all doing today?
Wonderful. Listen, good morning. I'm here, I'm happy, and I'm ready to thrive. How about you, babe?
Look, I love that. I love that. Look, that's what we're trying to be. Okay. We are trying to make sure that everybody is waking up happy and getting out of survival mode. And that's what building that legacy, and that's what changing our conversations and our relationship with money is going to help us do, to get out of survival mode, to stop operating in survival mode so that we can thrive unapologetically and actually start leaving and building a legacy for our children, which we were just having a conversation about offline, that is so important for us to do right now. But before we jump into that, I want to learn a little bit more about you two. So, Reverend, what do you like to be called? You want me to call you Reverend? Want me to call you Doctor? What do you want me to call you?
You can call me Doc. You can call me
Doc. Okay, there we go. There we go. I got you. Okay, Doc, why don't you share a little bit about yourself with us and tell us, you know, how you got started doing what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for having me. So, yes, my name is Reverend Dr. Xenia Barnes. You can also call me Doc or Rev. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I spent 20 plus years in the educational system, showing that our lovely children that you can grow up in the project housing and still be successful. I wanted to make sure that students was able to see themselves, so I went into teaching. But then when I became ill in 2021, after all those late hours and giving so much of myself to everyone else, I kind of was like thrown to the side by the educational system, forced to retire. And in that moment, I decided, you know what, I can either let this break me, or I can decide to do something different. And so what I decided to do was I talked to God. God said, I closed that chapter for a reason. This is what I need you to do. I need you to be a testament to how great I am. And so I started Gold Mind Thoughts Leadership Development firm, which coaches and it teaches survivors of violence, domestic abuse, and long-term illness how to love themselves through their trauma, how to make anew with what they have going on so they don't feel defeated, and how they can close that old chapter so they can step into their new purpose. As a speaker, I elevate the mindsets of our beautiful Black women, our Black kings, so that they can straighten their crowns and understand that they are enough and they are worthy to be in any space that they choose to be in. And so That's just a bit of what I do in a nutshell. I'm also an author of several mindset books that teach you again to reclaim your power by understanding that your authenticity belongs to you, not to anyone else. So be intentional about how you share it.
Yes, I love that. So, as a behavioral scientist, you've studied resilience and transformation. So, what have you really found to be the biggest mental barrier that keeps Black women from building wealth, and how can they overcome it?
The biggest barrier is that generational roadblock, because we were not, for generations, we were just taught to keep our mouth closed. We were taught to, we were just taught to, you just got to make ends meet. We were taught to, we were taught to accept whatever was given to us, and we were not taught how to plan intentionally. And so, though that caused this mind frame of whatever I have is enough, and I shouldn't be greedy. And you wanting more is not being greedy. You wanting more is allowing you to plan. So you know what? I'm going to make sure that I do more and I get more so that I can put aside so I don't have to continuously, continuously depend on the next check. And we were taught about baking, and we were taught about investing, and we were taught about real estate earlier on, and we were taught about the importance of it and the importance of leaving something behind for our children, then we will be far ahead. We'd be far ahead in the sense of the importance of financial literacy. See, financial literacy was stripped from us and not taught in the school system to us. And
Yeah.
so that is why that continues to be a big roadblock, because we continue to compete with one another instead of uplift one another.
Now, oh, I totally agree with that. So now, on that concept of building wealth and legacy building, that can be a daunting task for people, right? As you said, we've been conditioned
Hmm.
culturally, systemically, not to want more, to accept what's given. So, what do you think? What mindset shifts do we really have to put in place to get behind really creating generational wealth, especially in the more marginalized communities where that seems like the farthest thing that, I'm worried about today? How can
Hmm.
I focus on generational wealth? What mindset shifts do you think have to happen?
The mindset shift of I don't have to compete or want what the next person have. I need to understand what it is that I need for myself. So understanding, hey girl,
Good
understanding,
morning.
understanding that what you need to do is you need to get home in order. And by home, I mean your finances, I mean your bank account, I mean you understanding that what your bills are. Stop trying to, you know what, I need to impress everybody else and go on this trip. It might mean I can't go on this trip. What I need to do is pay down these credit cards, put them to the side so I can use them when I need them, but I don't have to max them out just because they're there. So once we get out of the mindset of maxing out because we want to put this facade on that we're doing just as great as the person next to us, or we have to compete with the person next to us, because
Mhm.
that's what media teaches, right? That's what society, that's what they want us to believe, that we have to have all these labels and the latest things, and we have to be fashionable. And what gives us status is this high price pocketbook, but we forget to pay our rent because we want to look good on Instagram, we want to look good on social media. So when we shift that mindset of I'm going to take care of home first, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to pay half of this month's rent, half of next month's rent this month, so that next month all I have to pay is half of it, and now I have more money to pay off other debt that I have, so that I can get out of this. I can get out of this pitfall of owing. Once we get that mindset ready and clear, come on, baby, you ready to go?
I love that. I love that. That now I hope y'all are listening. Okay. I hope y'all are listening and getting these gems. We ain't even got into the segment and she already dropping all the gems. So I hope you guys are paying attention. Hey Sharonda, how are you?
Good morning, everybody. Had to
Good
go
morning.
have a intimate conversation with this Peloton.
Hey. That's what you got to do to get your mind right in the morning. I love it.
Since I got time to do this.
I mean, ladies of leisure,
myself and stuff.
Ladies of leisure are supposed to invest in themselves. So I'm not,
Listen, get your ROI on your mental health. You're gonna get your ROI on your mental health and your physical health. That's your return on your investment. Or I said, get your ROI on your mental health and your physical health. That's your return on your investment for all that you have been doing all the years for everybody else.
That's it.
Absolutely. It is time for me to come to the front to give all that I've given to everybody else to myself now. I have the time, have the space, I have the capacity. It is my turn now.
That's right.
And you see, sexy lines coming in and stuff.
Hey, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I'm putting the work in on myself.
I see it. I see you.
Thank you.
This is what we do. This is what we do. We shine. We shine. So, Tawana.
Yes.
Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Black Butterfly Goddess?
I am Tawana Yvette, also known as Black Butterfly Goddess. My alter ego was born through what I refer to as my dark night of the mind, through a very deep trauma that I had in 2022, where I attempted to take my life. But
I'm glad you failed, man. We need you here.
But that was just the trigger that I needed to find who I am, because since I was 10, I've been living in survival mode. I too am from Brooklyn, New York. So, they latchkey kids, just left to raise ourselves. Had a very traumatic event happen. For 5 years, I was abused in my own home by my father. Jesus. And that resulted in pregnancy. And so for the rest of my life, I thought I was worthless. I thought that that's all I was. Right. That's all I was worth. So I chose men who wanted that low self-worth. Mm-hmm. And it was very, very hard. But after my attempt in 2022, after everybody left my life because I was a perpetual victim, I sat here in this apartment by myself and said, you know what? I'm going to do it or exit trying. And it was not easy. So for 2 years, I cried by myself. I had no one. For 2 years, I found healing modalities. I did research. I listened to podcasts. I listened to, binaural beats music to reprogram my subconscious. If I looked in the mirror, I would force myself to look in the mirror and look at myself, where I used to hate myself and maybe cover the mirror sometimes. I would force myself to look in the mirror and have that thought in the back of my mind and then turn around and say, no, you're a beautiful goddess. And whatever negative thought that I had, I made it positive with my mouth, vocally.
I love it.
I started Black Butterfly Goddess officially a year ago. It is my dream of teaching women how to heal their trauma, how to find their purpose, and how to grow spiritually. I too believe that this survival mode, this survival mindset, this masculine energy mode, it's not for us. We don't know how to be in our feminine flow. We lost how to be in our feminine flow, and that's receive mode. Anything you give us, we multiply. We're women, right? We're magic. So I teach women how to, let's get back into that flow. Let's heal this trauma. Come on. I'm not looking back because I'm not going back that way, but I'm going to take your hand and I will pull you up here as long as you keep hold of my hand. Okay? You let go of my hand and you're going to stay right where you are.
Mm.
But I will take your hand and bring you up here, and I teach, how to heal trauma from narcissistic abuse of all kinds, because I, as a mother, was a narcissist and lost contact with my children for a couple of years because of it. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But guess what? That's changed.
That's a beautiful thing.
So we are reconciling and healing. And as I healed, they're healing,
Because
and
when
I
you
love that.
change, everything
Exactly.
changes.
It's a generational thing.
Yeah.
We have to heal ourselves. And in turn, that heals our children. That showed what I did showed my children how strong they can be.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's
I
right.
have remained single and celibate and happy and peaceful since that last relationship that almost took me out in 2022.
Oh,
We are glad that I don't mean to cut you off, but we got to keep moving through. So
No worries.
yeah.
So that's what I do.
With your story of resilience and transformation, right? And the traumas that you've lived through, how did that journey that you've been on really shape your understanding of wealth? And what does building a legacy mean to you?
So for me, that journey kept me in a poverty mindset, because what it told me deep down was I didn't deserve. Now, me in my outside mind would go, I've had a house on a golf course. I've owned, a beautiful big home. However, I still had that poverty mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So until I broke that mindset of I don't deserve whatever, fill in the blank, nothing was going to change.
Yeah.
thank you so much, because I feel like you did a shift to turn something inside out of itself. What it was meant for didn't succeed, and you turned it inside out
My daughter.
and created a business out of it. Absolutely amazing.
That's my daughter. She's right
Hello, Miss Mariah.
That's your
How you
daughter.
doing, lady?
Well, hello, daughter.
Yes.
She's showing up for her mommy. I love to see it.
Absolutely. And I'm so very proud of you, because you are your own walking, talking testimony.
Yes.
And you are living out loud in spite of, and you got 100% success rate, Jesus, of getting through something that was so. I want you to go back in time and kiss and comfort that little 10 to 15
Oh, I've
year-old.
done that. I've written letters to her. I've held her.
Yes.
I've cried.
And listen to her be proud of you, who you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Look at this breakthrough happening. Oh, I got a janky wrist right now. I would beat my fan on my wrist right now, but
Please don't do that. Please
man,
don't.
just
We're just clapping for you over here.
thank you, clacking.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so much for blessing us today. Oh my gosh. Okay, did you see, Leanne? I ain't cry that time. It was
You
threatening.
did it. You did it.
Was a little bit
I'm
tingly
very,
back there. Nope. I'm gonna be a big
I'm
one.
very proud of you for that.
We're doing this today. I'm so happy to see you ladies today. My God, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be a good topic. So, last question before we jump in. So, breaking generational curses. We talked about that earlier. That's not even an easy task. That is not an easy task to do. So, what would you say is one practical step you'd recommend to someone who really feels stuck in that cycle of financial struggles? And we was poor, they was poor, our people before them were poor. So what's one step to help them unstick themselves, if you will?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Heal your trauma. Heal the things that happened to you as a child, because there was something that all children believe they're worthy. All children think they're great. All children think they can jump off a dresser and they'll be fine. it's not until somebody or something tells us that we are not worthy that that shift happens. I've seen people in the look at Jay-Z, projects, billionaire. It if you heal the parts of you that told you you're not worthy in the first place, then that set can no longer exist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to piggyback on that. My father was not in a place to give to me and to pour into me and to, do the things that a healthy father and daughter relationship should be. Because when I was 18, he told me, well, I ain't never had nothing and you
I
ain't
definitely
either.
agree. I also believe that in order to, the most important step is going through a whole phase of self-inventory.
Yes.
You have to understand who you are. You have to understand, and you have to have that self that you can count on. Are who's from your circle who are not adding to your growth, in order for you to be able to show up best for yourself before you can help anyone else. So if we want to break generational cycles, we have to see.
Yeah, we can only hear like every other word that you've got. You might want
to understand what was done to us, what we're continuing. Objective. You need to have someone that you can talk to that is not going to be your yes person. You need to be able to talk to someone who's going to be able to say, wait a minute, sis, slow that down. You need to unpack that. That's something. Let's stop skipping over that. If you notice that these patterns keep happening, it's time for you to do some unpacking. And so what happens is oftentimes we surround ourselves with people that tell us what we want to hear and not what we need to hear. And if you're going to break generational cycles of trauma, then you have to be able to be in the uncomfortable. You have to be able to be in the silence and get to know who you are, to understand what you need. Because when you can show up and understand that loving yourself is the most important before you can connect or intermingle with anyone else, then anything anybody else brings to the table is extra. So you walk in knowing that you are enough because you did your homework on yourself.
I would like to also piggyback on Tawana about the estranged or wayward father saying, I never had anything, so you won't either. So my heavenly father intervened, and a switch flipped inside of my head and was like, oh, no, we're not doing that today. At 18, I went through a metamorphosis mentally that defied my biological father's words, like, oh, the hell you say? I will show you better than I can tell you. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen. And it did. And I spent the rest of my life proving him wrong, just because he said he didn't have anything, that I wouldn't either. Oh, no, ma'am. No, sir. We not receiving any of that. And I just catapulted, in life, in all things from then. So it was the negative reinforcement that I used as a springboard to get me where I needed to be, because it was obvious I wasn't going to get anything out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So my heavenly father was like,
it's interesting that you say that, right? Because I'm thinking back now, I'm thinking about the part that you say about how you saying how your father was saying because he didn't have that you wouldn't have, and that was his mindset of somebody that taught him that, right? And then you saying you're saying how God intervened and said, not today.
Chains broken that day. Oh no,
we're gonna break that. We're gonna break that, right? But what I'm thinking about, and for someone like myself, I'm thinking about the people who parents tried to show them, right? But because the people that they were around in the community who didn't have, they thought that, you know what, I don't deserve this because everybody else don't have it, or I don't want people to think that I think that I'm better than them. And we have a lot of those. We have a lot of those folks that we often forget about. We forget about that segment. And when I say we, I just mean in general, that segment or that community of people. Because I remember when my father growing up and how I grew up in a 2-parent household, right? I grew up in a working class household, but I also grew up in Farragut housing, right? So I grew up in a community where not all my friends had 2 parents in the household. Not all my friends had some of the things, or was fortunate enough to have the extracurricular activities and things that I had. And so I felt like, well, it must be something wrong with me, because I'm different than the rest, you know, and so that was something that I had to battle with, because it's like, why do I have these things and my friends don't? So I shouldn't be able to have these things that my parents are trying to instill me, or these things that my parents I didn't look at it growing up as a blessing. I look at it as if it's like, oh, we think we better than them, and it wasn't that. But it was because I was in a community of people who was telling me, you must think that you're better than us because you have this, or teasing or bullying because I didn't have, or my family, my household didn't look the way their household was. So it's that imbalance where we can, where you can still battle with the I'm not enough, or either I'm too much. And sometimes we forget about those people that have that I'm too much, and we wonder, like, why do you see these people who have all these riches and they have all things, and they're still committing suicide? And there's so many things that are happening in them, and from the outside you're looking at, well, how you worrying about that with all that you have? But there's a lot of self work that wasn't done, and there's a lot of generation
too.
Oh yes,
self-sabotage. No, there was a lot of things that were happening, that people, and being surrounded with people who tell you what you want to hear versus what you need to hear, or what they want you to hear so they can get what they want out of you. And that's a lot of things that happen in our community as well, that contributes to the ongoing of systematic oppression and generational holding back.
and I think one of the main problems in that area is that our parents didn't know how to navigate those waters to teach us how to navigate those waters. Yes, our parents are doing the best that we could. We grew up poor just like everybody else in our community, but we live like right on the cusp of the rich community, right? So a lot of the people in our community were what we would consider middle class, right? But we did have those friends that lived in the projects, that whatever. And if you didn't have the parents who taught you to be proud of what you have, to not let others look down on you, most of us are just trying to find our way as kids, and we want to be accepted by our community of peers. And when they say you think you're better than them because you have more, that hit a lot of people really hard, to where now, yeah, I am going to dim my light. I am going to downplay what I have, who I am. And when somebody constantly hits you with that, there's no way that it's not going to start getting up here if you're not fighting it back. And a lot of our parents just didn't have the knowledge, the understanding to be able to always share with us how to navigate these
all the time.
That's another thing, because they were always
all the time. They were working. Most of them were working 2 or 3 jobs so that bills and things can be paid, and to make sure that you can have the things that you need. And so time came into play with that as well. It's 3 things, right? It's not knowing, it's not having the time, and then it's also that battle of, when we're young, we think we know everything, and we think we know everything, and we're not trying to listen to what we're not trying to listen to what they're trying to tell us. You know, we're not trying to listen to that. And I look at our children now, and it's like, as much as you try, like, no, I've been down that path. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've been, and they're like, if you old. It's not like that no more. It's not like that no more. It's still like that. It's still like that.
It is 100% still like that. So I want to take a step back, a little bit and let's talk about just what are generational curses. For those who may, not fully understand maybe what that means, I like to go back and give a little bit of background. So, when you're thinking about generational curses, don't think about just the superstitions that you may hear in your family, but think about the patterns that have been passed down through your family, through generations, especially in our communities where we're dealing with systemic oppression, we're dealing with financial inequities, and all of this compounds generation after generation. Like Sharonda was saying, the father who's been told that he ain't going to be nothing. So what does he pass down? His thoughts about money, his thoughts about worth passed down to his children. Well, I ain't never been nothing. You ain't never going to be nothing. Right? It could be you're growing up in a household where money has always been scarce. You poor, you're poor. You ain't even got enough money to have the other O and the R. You're poor, right? Seeing your parents work so hard and break their back, but still never having enough, that changes your relationship with money. And you start to think, well, I'm going to have to also break my back and still have nothing. It reminds me of like of Good Times.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Generation after generation after generation in the projects. Well, Lona got married to the football player. They still living in the projects because he got hurt. And those generational curses end up turning into fearing debt, fearing money, and thinking that your life is kind of built with this synonym of struggle, that Black equals struggle, when it doesn't have to, right? We have to start naming these cycles, right? Because I feel like, honestly, when you name it and you speak it, you can then start to fix it and start to break these generational curses. Like Sharon said, Lord and Savior up there, Sky Daddy, told her, we're not doing that today. You are worthy. You will make something of yourself. I have instilled in you the love that he has for us to make sure you have a love of self, regardless of what everybody else tells you. So if your relationship with money is rooted in fear, is rooted in ignorance, is rooted in misunderstandings that you were taught or not taught about money, giving you a scarcity mindset, you have to realize you're not alone. There's a whole community of people who grew up just like you. But you also have the power, and to me, you have the responsibility of breaking that cycle, of not carrying it into how you raise your children.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Can we also talk about the when you do have the strength to break those generational curses, what about the family members that have the chokehold, kung fu grip on that same curse, that are mad at you because you had the strength to not succumb to this bullshittery called the doggone the generational curse thing? And so the things my 53-year-old self can go back to my 16-year-old self, my 24-year-old self, because I have mindset now that I didn't have that. Well, actually I did. I just didn't have the speech for it to utilize back in the day and stuff. But here's our favorite word: boundaries.
Oh, you know that's our favorite word on this show.
At least once every podcast, we always mention boundaries, ladies, always. So when you break the generational curse and you like stop it right in its tracks, when you have the family members that are still holding on, like, the death grip to the generational curse, you can teach them too how to break that thing. But it's like a way of life for them. It's like, how dare you not let me talk to you like I don't have no damn sense because my mama talked to me like that? but you can stop it right now. And it's like, and it's the mindset that they refuse to address that's perpetuating this generational curse that's keeping them locked up, not me, because I've been set free. I'm over here on the other side.
But you also have to realize it is not your responsibility
That part.
to fix them. I can show you, but you got to walk through the door, baby. And I'm not what you have to realize is when you change, you are going to lose people.
Absolutely.
Ooh, yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Ready for people to be upset because they are used to having.
Prepare to be sick of me, doggone it.
Because they're used to having a certain level of access to you. They're, like you said, used to talking to you a certain way, used to coming to you for money all the time because they don't have. And now that you have, they guilt you into feeling like it is now your responsibility to take care of everybody else.
Speak it.
In your family, in your life, in your community. No, it's not. Right?
That's why I said, I'm not looking back. That's why I said, I don't look back. I teach you how to get here. I will reach my hand back for you.
I can't go.
I'm not doing work for you.
You
okay?
Tawana, you have really and truly reached inside of my soul and pulled yourself out of it because it's the I have come so far. I can't go back there. So I told my father,
I won't even look.
Still living. When I was 40 on my 40th birthday, that was the end of it. From the age of 18 to the age of 40, I was like, you know what? I can't do this by myself to have a relationship with you. So since you're stuck back in the 70s, I can't go back there with you because I was a little girl back then. You don't want to deal with me as a woman because the woman daughter that you have will tell you, we're not going back to the 70s. If you can't stay with me right here today, then I will stay here by myself and you stay back in the 70s. How can you walk together if you don't agree in what time zone you're supposed to be in or what timeline you're supposed to be on?
Exactly.
Come here in the
You have to understand that this is what we need. Everybody needs to understand. With boundaries comes the power of disengagement. So once
hold on, babe. Stop right
once
there.
you learn to set boundaries, then you know you have the power to disengage. And you can what you can say, hey, this is the journey I'm on, this is the path that I'm on. You willing to travel this path with me, or I'm gonna disengage and we can circle back when you get a couple of steps forward. But until then, for my peace and for my happiness and my understanding of where I'm going, I need you to unpack your own things on your own time. Because I cannot unpack it for you. I can give you the tools. I can tell you the strategies that I use that may have worked for me, and you can try them and see if they work for you. But when you're ready to have this discourse about how we can move forward together, let me know. But until then, I respectfully disengage and I decline your access to my space and my
that's exactly what my daughter that's on here did. And I'm proud of her for it. Yeah. I am so proud of my 3 children for standing up and saying, enough of your trauma, enough of this shit. You either go and heal or deuces. We are out. We are out. I give them so much credit and so much love for doing that. And now I'm able to say the same thing to others. Like, look, I teach in my classness, forgiveness does not mean access.
Ma'am.
You can forgive someone over there.
Right. Well, I
forgive you over there.
Yeah.
Leanne,
that's the first thing that we have.
Beautiful souls, but I'm so glad they're here today.
You know who comes to us is supposed to come to us and share and feed into our community. So,
oh my God,
I want to step back a little bit because we haven't really talked about the money aspect, this relationship with money, and I want to make sure that we really get to that piece. We've talked about breaking those generational curses. We've talked about healing from your trauma and trying to become that best version of yourself. Those are the necessary steps that you have to take, right?
Mhm.
You have to heal self first so that you can start building a better relationship with money. Now, when we're talking about wealth, we're not just talking about money. It's not all the cash and the flash and the luxury vacations. To me, true wealth is options.
Mhm.
It is
Absolutely.
living life on your terms. It's
Yes.
being able to pass down something meaningful to the next generation. It's building a legacy so that your children and their children, hopefully, and maybe even their children, are benefiting off of the moves that you made
Mhm.
today,
Mhm.
right? And for Black women, wealth might also mean time freedom,
There you
right?
go.
It might mean the ability for Sharonda, who was able to care for her mother in her last days. It might be funding a dream that just doesn't serve you, that serves your community, like the Black Butterfly Goddess over there and the Reverend Dr. Xenia Barnes, right? It's about having intentionality to your life and to the steps that you take so that you're not just living in today, that I am building for tomorrow and the day after. That is wealth to me.
Yes.
So, and we're just going to go round robin here. What are some things that you would say to a person who comes to you telling you, hey, we're going to start with you, Dr. Barnes, or Doc, like Doc, is, is how do I start down this path of changing my relationship with money, of building a legacy? How do I start when I don't have anything right now?
We all have something. We all have something. It's a matter of your vision. So, what is your vision for wealth? Because my vision for wealth may not be your vision for wealth. And once you can identify what your vision is, then you can understand of the map, the roadmap that you have to create. Because within that roadmap, you're going to have to shed and do some shadow boarding and letting go of things that was holding you back to, I don't deserve money. I don't deserve wealth. I don't deserve happiness. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you are ill, you can't do anything with the money. If your mindset is incorrect, you're gonna lose the money. If you don't have a vision
Yes.
for it, you don't know how to intentionally and purposefully use your money so that it can regenerate itself, so that you can have a legacy and leave money for those, for your children or your family that's coming behind. So I say all of that to say, to start with your vision. Understand of what your vision of wealth is, and then start putting together a plan. First, you got to think it, then you got to believe it, you got to plan, and then execute.
Yes.
Also, you have to also attack that debt. If debt is freezing, is like submitting your feet to the doggone ground, and it's like taking up real estate in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
get on a doggone debt repayment plan and just move on, because you're stunting your own growth when we're talking about wealth and on all of the different levels and stuff. So if you can't see your way out of, I'm going to use myself, I can only use myself. So at one point we were $55,000 in debt. We were both active duty officers in the Army. We were trying, to get into the financially independent and retire early group and stuff. And we were like, okay, so we're not gonna go bankrupt. That's for certain. If you got two dual income, no kids, there's no way for you to file or even consider going bankrupt. All you gotta do, if you got two incomes coming in, live off of one, and then
Mm-hmm. And
the
pay
other
for
one to invest and pay off debt
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to get you to the next level. That right there is the cheat code that helped us get out of that 55K in less than a year and back to AK. Okay. The daycare center didn't work. Now we're on the real estate. And back then, back in the 90s, we had Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We had The Art of Making a Deal.
Mhm.
This was Donald Trump back in the day, back in the 90s that I'm talking about. Not this one right here, the version of him. Right? We're not talking about this. We're talking about the one back in the 90s. And so reading those books, and I went to 4 years of business school. I didn't learn the things that I learned in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. $15 book, this small, and you can read it in one sitting. And so many concepts. So you get your mind right, get on the debt payment plan, debt consolidation, get yourself knowledgeable. I'm talking about 4 years of business school did not cover what I learned in the mindset of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Get with people that's doing something that you would like to do, instead of hanging with the people that you just got done hanging with that still ain't doing shit year after year. Change.
That's action. That's action versus curriculum. See, and and when you go in those schools, you learn a curriculum. You're not learning reality and the actionable steps that you have to take. This is this curriculum that was planned out, and it's like these are all the things that hypothetically could happen, the things that you could know. In reality, these are the things that happen. This is the way you go about doing it. But pitfall we fall into is we try to attack everything at one time instead of biting it little, doing incremental
bite-sized bites.
Yes, bite-sized by bites. Then you get to feel like you're doing something. You like, oh, I can do this now. I knocked this credit card out. I'm gonna pay the minimum payment on whichever's the largest. I'm gonna pay the maximum payment and pay this little one off so I can knock out one. Now I'm gonna knock out the next one. Next thing you know, you're gonna pay off. You're gonna pay off 3 or 4 credit cards. Now you have more revenue that you can attack the larger one because you're not trying to pay everything, knock out everything at one time.
Now, after that part, we have to replace the debt with investing in this day and age. If you can waste $300 every month on bullshit, you can invest. There's so many different platforms. There's so many people in this
you can invest in something that might be right.
Yes,
and so assets and access, like Leanne said. Yes, ma'am.
So Tawana, what about you? What would be your tips?
Like we said, heal the trauma, but the mindset around money has to shift. When we hold money, actually runs on maritime law. I know I may have just said something people don't understand, but
we don't. We're just waiting for the explanation.
Yes.
Money does not go by the law of the land. It was made to go by the law of the ocean. It has to flow in and out. So when you're holding on so tight to that last $10 that you got, that $1,000 you got, you have to spend it to get it back. Energy flows. Money is energy. It's nothing more than energy. So if you have the openness, you've healed your trauma, you've healed your mindset around being broke, you've made it out the projects, you're not hanging with those folks, you're hanging with folks who have money so you can learn how to keep money. It starts to flip. You have to spend it to receive it. You have to spend it to receive it. It's a flow. It's an energy. When you learn that, it becomes abundance. And yes, investments, and please don't pick your investor off TikTok. Make sure people have credentials, because I've got about 97 different investors in my DMs right now. Make sure people have credentials. So you're not getting scammed, because scams are at an all-time high right now. They're ready to take your money.
Yes. And so what I would say is, one, start where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't require a big windfall for you to start building your wealth. Start where you are.
Absolutely.
Right? Just like Dr. Zini said, you could start with the smallest credit card and just start paying those off, Or maybe you want to tackle the biggest one because you like to see that number going down every month, right? But start small. You don't have to break the bank, but you do have to break the bad spending habits.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? You have to break, and I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to y'all. Because your girl like to spend some money. I like to shop. I like to go on trips. I am a little bit bougie with what I do and how I do it. But I also know if I want change, I have to do different.
Yes.
I have to not go out frivolously, going out to eat and going out to spend money. And my vice,
Amazon.
don't know. Don't come for my Amazon. You know, people look. Don't come for my Amazon, my Temu, my all those things.
Temu.
We have to
Shein,
put
all of them.
right. But the reality is these are real things.
Yes.
The TikTok shop,
Yes.
all the things. My bad habit, was business equipment. Anybody who know me and they come to my house, they be like, "You got a full print shop at your house?" I do.
She does.
But I had to be like, Leanne, we're going to sell these things. We're going to put this money to the side over here because we have plans, we have goals. So start by writing down your goals. Write down your goals. Where do you want to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? Right?
There goes the vision. Mm-hmm.
Write it down. Make the vision plain, baby.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
If you can't see it here and see it on that paper, you will never be able to realize it in your life. So write it down. And then I back up from that 1 year and say, what do I need to change in my life right now to get to that point? If I'm living this way, I'm living Leanne 2.0 1 year from now, how does she act? How does she spend? How does she save? How does she interact with people around her? Write all that down and start living that way now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Take little steps. Don't try and jump and say, okay, I'm just going to stop all my spending, because you're not. You're not. Have a release ceremony with one thing. I'm going to give up going to Starbucks every week, and I'm only going to go to Starbucks once a month now. I got Starbucks at home. You better learn how to make that mocha frappuccino latte, caramel macchiato, whatever it is. And
if you start doing that and you say, I'm gonna go once a week, and then the money that I would have spent, I'm gonna put it in this jar and let it build up. Let it build up. And then you say, I'm gonna do this for a month, right? When you see how much you save, you start going, I'm gonna try that with something else.
Also, go on an allowance.
Right?
Yes.
I'm gonna try that with something else. Now, I'm bad with allowances, but that's a great idea because I'll be like, oh my God, but I really want this. But I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress. I'm working on that. But I also understand that I had to, and I started doing this a couple of years ago. I had to say, all right, this credit card right here, this credit card is for me when I feel like I want to splurge and do something, and that's the only time I'm going to use this credit card. Mm-hmm. And everything else, and then I attach certain things. I attach different things in my life to other bills, so I can understand that these are the bills that I have. These are the things that this is what's luxury, and then this is what's necessary. And once I was able to distinguish the two, I was able to get myself out of a lot of debt because I didn't see the debt. I knew I had it, but I couldn't see the debt because it was like my bills and stuff is paid. And that's where a lot of people are when you see like, oh, my rent is paid, then I can't be in debt. But when you're gonna realize is there's so many subscriptions that you have that you're paying for that you let come out of your check monthly that you gonna realize that you don't need. So when you sit down and you go through those things, you like, I'm putting myself in the debt that I don't have to be, and I can have more money or passive income income if I just close these 10 accounts that I'm not using. And then I could take that money and I could pay down something else that's going to allow me to remove myself from debt. I don't have to subscribe to everything that come across my phone in the middle of the night. You know, those of us that's up in the middle of the night, we can't sleep because our mom won't let us. And soon as someone be like, oh, that looks good, I'm gonna subscribe to this. $14.99 a month, $6.99 a month. Oh, that's only $6.99. I'm gonna subscribe. We have those we have those subscriber graduates, I call them. Those that go to subscriber university. You just keep subscribing to everything, and next thing you know, you paying a bunch of things that's just coming out of your check where that money could be going somewhere else. So we have to be intentional about what we're doing in our pastime so that we can make sure that we're not being wasteful with our income.
Yes.
I looked at my statement last October and realized I had been paying for Hulu and all of these TV subscriptions, and my TV hadn't been turned on for 6 months.
Ma'am.
Mm-hmm. But that's the power of the subscription. The set it and forget it. Businesses bank on you forgetting about that $20,
Alarms.
$15 here.
Thing is over. Set myself an alarm. Oh, you got to turn this off because of free subscription.
I've done that. Set the alarm so that you don't get charged.
Yeah, because we forget and they want you to forget. That's the whole law of the subscription is set it and forget it so that it just comes out. We have to know our numbers. One of my friends, Nicole Johnson, is one of those people that's like, what's your budget every month? Write down every bill. And like Doc said, what is that must have? This is my obligation. I gotta have rent, food. I gotta have these things. What are my nice to haves? Right? What are the luxuries that I don't necessarily need? You don't need cable. There's a lot of free things you can do and watch and subscribe to. Okay. I do gotta have internet because I run a business out of it.
Exactly.
But I don't gotta have this, and this. I don't gotta have the Panera get a drink every day when I don't even go to Panera every day because ain't no Panera by my house. But I'm gonna have that subscription for the one time in a month. I'm gonna use it without, right? So we have to look at these things. So go through. This is what I'm gonna tell you. And y'all ain't gonna like it when I say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
It's okay.
Get all of your. Got to roll my sleeves up for this one. Get all of your statements from every credit card you have, every bank that you have for the last year. Then you're going to take your highlighter. You're going to start looking at, because some of these things ain't coming out every month. They're not coming out, or I paid for a year. I love a discount, so I'm gonna pay at a year level. So I don't see it every month. I just see it when it drop out. $149 come out of my account. So, and you're gonna do that for a year, so you can see. It's like Rocket Money. There's an app that's Rocket Money. You can connect all your cards. It will go through and find the subscriptions for you.
Yeah, so they cancel them for you too. I use Rocket Money. They cancel. They look and they tell you these are the things that you're not using. Click here and I can cancel them for you.
Yeah. So do that. Put all your cards that you have in there, and it's going to find them. And you can now start removing things. And when we remove a negative, we replace it with a positive. So what are you doing with that money? Am I investing it? Because you got to pay yourself first. One of my friends was a financial advisor, said, and some people may not like the way that this is said. If it's late, it's already late. Pay yourself first and then take this other chunk, and that's what you're starting to pay things down. But as you are paying things down, you also need to be paying yourself. So you are building up your reserves as well.
And also cut your spending.
Well, you have to cut your spending to get the money to do all these other things. You're going to have to put some things to the side. You're going to have to say no. You're going to have to plan for something and say, hey, I want to go to Jamaica, Nassau. I want to go to the Bahamas. I want to go wherever. That's a 2026 goal. And I need this much money saved before I can do it. Make it a benefit that you get for doing the things that you need to do to change your life and to start building this legacy. Start
Huge.
prioritizing ownership. That means fix your credit so you can get a house at a good rate, so that you can use some of these first-time homeowner programs to help you with down payment assistance, right?
This is
So
all doable, not overwhelming. You
Nope.
just got to put the time and realize that instant gratification is how you got in this doggone situation. If you practice delayed gratification, then you'll be able to become debt free. I promise it's the best feeling in the whole wide world. Promise it's the best feeling in the whole wide world. Don't owe nobody, don't owe no man nothing but love. I don't owe you nothing. My debts are paid.
yes, and we
Let
have
me
Not
tell you,
just
as a businesswoman, what I do is when I know there's something I want to like some trip or something I want to plan, then I create a program or something that can fund that trip. So if I like for instance, like I have my book coming up, Triumph in the Trenches. Triumph in the Trenches.
We about to say, where's the book at? Where the book at?
This is Triumph in the Trenches. This is the green book for Black professionals. You want to know how to navigate through troubling spaces. You want to know how to get your life right, get your mind right. Triumph in the Trenches. And this is volume 2. This is volume 1, but volume 2 is being released on February 11th.
Okay.
Go to my website, www.rev.xeniabarnes.com, and you can sign up to pre-order the book. But you can also, when you pre-order the book, you also get into my VIP First Readers program, which gives you it gives you discounts, but it also gives you chances to win free things. But also you get first readers, first tips, and access to read some manuscripts ahead of the rest. But like I was saying, my books fund my other things, my other projects. So I create a project to fund things that I want to do, so I don't have to take the money out of my pocket.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do the same.
Hold on. We got to wrap it up because our time is up. Been a fabulous hour. It's been a fabulous hour. So
doesn't seem like an hour, right?
It doesn't. It never does. It never does. We've had shows that have been an hour and a half, and we look up and we like, oh, for a minute, we gotta.
We'll talk. Yep.
But we love that you guys came. I think Dr. Barnes is already giving her wrap up. You better go on and get that book and pre-order volume 2. Okay, try and finish it. You better go on and get volume 2. Okay. So, and you see her, connect with her, www.rev.xeniabarnes.com. Head on over, connect with her, find her on social media, follow her. You saw how she was giving up the gems, okay? You saw that she was giving up the gems, getting up the information, and she's got programs that can help you. So make sure that you go and head on over there. So, Tawana, would you like to kind of tell people how they can connect with you?
Black Butterfly Goddess everywhere. I made it easy for everybody, and I too create programs whenever I want to do something special or whatever. So this weekend I am teaching a class called Sacred Surrender: Exiting Survival and Embracing the Goddess Within, and it is about attracting wealth and abundance by stepping boldly into your divine feminine energy. And I teach courses on narcissistic abuse and things. And then my coaching packages are on my website as well, which was, I just rebranded this weekend. Everything's new. So you can find all types of really good gems. I have a club. I have a subscription now. But it's not one you'd want to cancel. Discounts on classes, books, things like that. And we expect my memoir to drop on Christmas. So
love it.
What a gift.
Yes. So look, y'all, today has been such a powerful show. Okay. Yes. We talked about what does wealth mean to us? What does building a legacy mean to us? How are we breaking these generational curses? How are we building legacies that last by changing our relationship with money? Right? I want to thank our guest, Tawana Everett, and the Rev, Dr. Xenia Barnes, for sharing your wisdom and inspiration. Y'all make sure that you go and follow them, connect with them, shop with them. We have to keep our money circulating in our community. That's what we got to do. we've got to start with us. We can't be worried about everybody else right now. Right now, it's time for us to focus on us. Do you have any final words that you want to share, Sharonda, before we get on out of here?
Take this administration to get your mind right, to get your wallet right, and to just stay healthy, because you got time on your hands. I want you to put it to good use. You have a plethora of information, not just in this show, but all of the previous 10 seasons. We have provided some really great resources and guests. They're all in the library, YouTube University, or whatever platform. But get your mind right and stop making excuses. Change your mind. It's free. You don't have to ask permission to do that from anybody.
I know.
You got this.
You do got this. And we got you. As Sharonda said, you can head on over to YouTube, any podcasting platform. You can find all of our previous seasons, all our previous guests, all of our previous episodes of the Wake Up Happy Sis show, and do your research. Know your numbers. Change your mind. That changes your life. With that, we will see y'all on Thursday. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Wake Up Happy Sis show. Join us live every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern for more joy, healing, and sisterhood. Until next time, keep thriving unapologetically, sis.